There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 2 of the Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 series, coming tonight from Phillip Island, where we're going to tackle 250Ks. I'm John Van Ree. With me, I've got Mark Duggan. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, very good, John. Thank you. How are you going?
Yeah, not too bad for a hot, steamy evening on the border. Steve Murray's in the chat already saying g'day, and I think these boys tonight, as they're on the start of their qualifying here, will definitely be hot and steamy as well, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. I spoke to a couple of my teammates down Victoria way, and they said it was very hot down there today. So, yeah, feel sorry for you guys. I'm enjoying a nice sea breeze where I am.
It'll come one day. I think we're supposed to get a bit of change tomorrow anyway. I'm not here to talk about the weather, here to talk about qualifying, which has just commenced. So the boys are still sorting themselves out on their outlaps here. Some interesting circuit, this one. A lot of us have raced here before many times, but we'll have a quick look again anyway. We start off on the Gardner Straight and we go sweeping downhill into the fast 200k kilometre an hour, doing corner into turn 1, and then pull her up into third gear to roll ourselves around through the southern loop. Trying to get on the gas out of the southern loop without eating your tyres up, and then come down, sweeping through Stoner Corner into Miller Corner, that used to be known as Honda, and then we come down into Siberia, where we get to see down south across a wonderful Bass Strait, and then we swing back up the hill past Hayshed up into Lukey Heights, and then we come sweeping downhill into turn 10 MG Corner. Got to pull the car up heading downhill. Not an easy thing to do at this place. And then get back on the power without spinning up the wheels too much through turn 11, and then through the fast sweeping turn 12 back onto the Gardner Straight. It is a very difficult track, 4.45 kilometres, 12 turns, 250 Ks. These guys are going to have to look after tyres, look after fuel. And safety cars are not super common here, so boys are really going to have to play to a strategy tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Safety cars aren't too common here. We do see blown motors now and then, but yeah, it's going to be a tough night for these boys. This place is notoriously hard on tyres, so yeah, they're going to have to manage all aspects of their racing tonight.
Yeah, not the easiest thing in the world to do at this place. But we're already off to a bit of a kickstart here. Kenny Ladder, Damien Johnstone, Chastity, and here's the man I was about to talk about, James Scott. He's expecting to be missing a few boys tonight with the pre-qual for the qualifying series for Logitech G Pro Series. And James Scott's one of the names on that list, but he's chosen East Coast over that. So it'll be great to see how quick James can push the car around Phillip Island.
Yeah, well, we know how quick James has been from last season and starting off this season, so expecting big things from him. Jordan Ross, another one who will be very quick tonight. Kenny Ladder, strong performer as well around here. Damien Johnson, another one. Cameron G. Jones, good to have him here. I think he missed last week, but good to have him here. He's always a hard, tough racer, so good to see him here. And then we've got the likes of Scotty Gamble, who put up a great job last week. He got on the podium in race 2. So yes, going to be some good racing around here.
Absolutely, looking forward to this one. As the boys will be coming in on their in laps here after setting their qual time. course, the other one tonight that we are making a bit of an awareness for the Balin Stewart Foundation. So we'll talk a bit more about that throughout the race. But Balin Stewart Foundation was started after an unfortunate accident with a 16-year-old Balin who was involved in an accident with a knife. And the Balin Stewart Foundation is all about trying to take knives away out of the general public. So it's trying to make awareness of knives and trying to get people to stop carrying them, because you never know with what sort of incident you get yourself involved in. Something tragic can happen, as in the case with Balin. So it's a great cause. A lot of the boys are running logos on their cars tonight for it. And when we get to lap 16, we're going to have a lap of silence from the commentary team. And yeah, so it's a year this week since we've lost Balin, and yeah, we just want to honour him and here at East Coast. And I know the vets are also putting on a big show in terms of honouring Balin as well. So a big shout out to Michael Stewart, who's also racing tonight. So it's one of those things that we need to make awareness so it doesn't happen to someone else.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, John, and full credit to Michael Stewart, who is a big advocate for his son Balin and a great advocate for the Balin Stewart Foundation, and he is a genuinely great guy to be involved with in sim racing, always willing to help out others, and just a really quality person. And if any of you have a chance, check out the website for the Balin Stewart Foundation, and if you can, help the Stewart family out and the foundation out by donating.
Of course, one of the last things that Balin and Michael did together was actually watch a replay watch the broadcast of the V8 vets. So sim racing was a big part of their relationship. So anyway, we might just get back into the action here a bit. Look, the boys are on their outlaps again. So we've got James Scott, who's about to come around and get cracking on what we're expecting to be a flying lap here. And we might jump on board and have a bit of a look from James's perspective. And chuck the dashboard up as well so you can see the sort of speeds, very high speed track, 285 kilometres an hour. Got to back it right back to 210. Southern Loop, where you just got to balance that throttle, look after those tyres, don't want to overdrive it too much. So easy to talk when James is driving. See, full throttle into Stoner, down into Miller. Bit of traffic in front, looks like one of his teammates.
Jordan Ross in front. I'm sure they're working together to try and pull out as much time as they can to give James a great start to the night. Not that he actually needs much help around any tracks we do at the moment.
The young bloke, he's absolutely on fire. Also mentioned that Jordan's sitting in fourth, which is a good result for JR. He'd be pretty happy with that at the moment, hoping to stay there. And the other one doing quite well in sixth spot there is Robert Gibbs. I do believe he's got some inside knowledge of the track with his spotter tonight. I believe his spotter spent a fair bit of time working down there. Mr. Brenton O'Brien.
Yeah, Robert did an outstanding job last week as well on debut.
Yeah, looking forward to see how he goes, whether he can keep that battle up, the likes of Ladder, Ross and Warboys. And of course, we all know from Scops that Blake has a very good reputation around Phillip Island.
James just punched out a 127.233, which is good enough for pole position at the moment.
Yeah, very lazy lap. Makes it look very simple, doesn't he? Tell you, the feet and hands will be working a lot harder than what we just looked at there.
Can't see on the broadcast, but he's got his elbow out the window, just cruising along.
Absolutely. Now it's might have a look back at a few other names that we've got floating around. Matt Thompson. Matt running the silver car tonight. All chromed up, quite polished. and sitting in 14th. Harrison Dengate is back in 16th at the moment. Young H doing double duties tonight, I believe. Already doing some pre-qual work for the Pro Series. Yeah, jumping in for East Coast. And Cameron G. Jones still sitting in second spot from War Boys. Scotty Gamble's knocked himself up into fifth. That's a good one from Scotty. So two ERT cars in the top 10 at the moment. And just looking down the list for some of our other bigger names. Blake Delaney's all the way back in 28th for the Fishy Motorsport crew. So Blake with a little bit of work to do. Tim Mulford back in 23rd. Timmy with a bit of work to do. Of course, one of our favourite drivers out there, the People's Champion himself, Jamie McKnight, still battling away. He's sitting back in 31st. Heads into the pits. Big shout out to Jamie. And Chris Funky Miller. A bit of a talk about Chris. Oh, didn't mean to catch him on the grass. Yeah, Funky Miller. He's teammate in this series, Scotty Van Loon, the Rattler. He's sent me a message this morning. He's out of the sim for another few weeks. I think he's expecting to get back in about a month's time. Still suffering from infection he got in his leg when he got a tattoo in Bali. So, yeah, it's a bit disappointing for poor old Scotty. He was really looking forward to getting his teeth into the East Coast Series.
Yeah, that doesn't sound pleasant, getting an infection from a tattoo in Bali. That sounds very gnarly, but yeah, hopefully Scotty's well on his way to recovery. James Chastanev, Paul Young doing a good job. Just both of them just sneaking inside the top 10 at the moment. Those two boys have been doing outstanding work last season and to the start of this season. So good to see them inside the top 10 as well.
Absolutely. And of course, their team boss, Dave Baldock, had a very interesting run in here on bets on Thursday night with the car rapidly locking the brakes up and leaving the server with a comment, "I'm off to chase a horse." Apparently one of their horses escaped. So after Dave's adventures on falling off horses, you can imagine the jokes that were going around after that one. Let's jump back on with James. James looks like he's on an outlap again, keeping out of everyone's way there.
Yeah, this is where the drivers have really got to pay attention to their relative, their mirrors. They've got your track map. You've got to keep an eye on everything to make sure you don't impede somebody and end up with a penalty yourself. So got to be very aware when you're on your outlaps in qualifying not to impede another driver. Otherwise, you'll end up with a rear grid start or a pit lane start.
Absolutely, and it does happen. And also, not to mention too, the no tow rule that we've got in effect as well with qualifying, which we saw a couple of boys last week get tripped up on that one. Never pleasant starting from rear grid, particularly here as well. It's not an easy track. Once you lose the train of that draft, it gets quite difficult to hang on to the pack in front. So
current conditions at the moment, we've got a clear sky with 19 degrees, track's at 21 at the moment, but it's quite windy. The wind's up from the northwest at 28 kilometres an hour, so that'll be playing a few tricks for the boys under braking.
Yeah, definitely be trying to catch them out there. I was just about to say that the race tonight's 57 laps, and we're looking at an unlimited fuel strategy, of course, compulsory 2 pit stops where they must change a minimum of 2 tyres. They can only use 1 compulsory pit stop under safety car, so that's another interesting twist to be thinking about this evening. And then we sort of have our standard 1 fast repair, no driving aids, and 25 incident points for tonight's race. So I think we're in for a good one, Mark.
Yeah, look, I mean, this quality field, this is a great track for V8 racing. We've seen plenty of good battles here over the years, and yeah, I think we're going to have some pretty good tight battles right through the field tonight, like we do pretty much every week at East Coast V8s.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this. It's Blake Warboy sitting in third spot.
Yeah, Blake doing a great job. One name I'm surprised to see down in 17th is Thomas Freeman. Thomas usually a little bit quicker than that around here, but it seems like the Fishy boys are struggling a little bit. Maybe they're not happy with their setup, but I still expect big things from come race time for them boys.
Yeah, so as I said, a few of these bigger teams, I think there's a fairly large contingent Pro Series as well. So a few of these boys this week have probably spent more time focusing on that than their setups for tonight, and we're seeing the effects of that. Or we're looking at some new names with ERT coming in, and the boys at Banter Alliance putting some pressure on the Fishy boys. Maybe the fish has gone bad.
No, I don't think the fish is rotten yet, but you know, like, look, at the end of the day, they always race well, so I would expect them to be well inside the top 10 come race time. We've seen Thomas Freeman before race really well, and we all know how good Blake Delaney can save fuel and can really execute a great strategy.
Absolutely, and we're sitting right next to the ocean, so we're pretty much in these boys' element. Looking forward to this. Big shout out to the Rattler who's jumped in the Facebook chat and said g'day. This is going to get really interesting, I think. It's going to be a really good one. I can see us having a good group of about 4 or 5, probably even more, 7 or 8 cars in that sort of top 10 all hunting together here for 250 Ks. This is going to be...
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be whoever can look after their tyres the best. Oh, we've just seen a big accident at the exit of pit lane, which will be an interesting one for race control to unpack there. Especially because there's no tow rule.
Trying to find who that is. A little bit of down. Just trying to find out who it is at the moment.
James Scott, Cameron Jones, and I'm not sure who else was.
Hasn't come up as an accident. Might just see.
Yeah, right.
Pit lane.
Might just turn them off. James Ross, Morris. That looks like Cameron G. Jones. Might just see. This might be it. It's in park there. Trying to get himself going.
Matt Thompson or someone in front.
The other guy's trying to get out there. It's Jones, Ben Morris, Cameron G. Jones. Ooh, what was that with Jordan Ross? Jordan Ross picking up the end of it there. Wow. And it looks like Jordan's blown an engine. So Cameron G. Jones went off track with sort of, what's your time here? Cameron G. Jones is parked, someone's parked in front, and James Scott into the back of him at full speed. Wallboy's in the mix of that as well. Not Wallboy, sorry. That looks like...
I think it was Harrison Dengate.
Harrison Dengate, yeah. And Harrison towed there, so interesting.
I think I heard that Harrison got a pit lane start from that.
Wouldn't be surprised. So we've only got a minute to go here in quali. We've got a few boys all bailed up here, which is quite interesting. I want to keep up with this one. Cameron G. Jones is still circulating. Four boys are still circulating. So we're getting down into the last minute of quali here. Still don't have any fishy cars in the top 12. It's very disappointing for Dengate if that's the case, if he's got a pit lane start. Because he's 11th at the moment. That's been his highest qual I think we've seen in probably the last half a season or season even for Harrison. That'll be a little bit disappointing if that's the case.
Yeah, it will be a bit disappointing, but you've got to learn, you know, you've got to learn the hard way sometimes, and I'm sure Harrison won't make that mistake again where he's stopped at the exit of pit lane. I'm sure he was thinking he was doing the right thing by the drivers on the track, but the boys coming out of the pits certainly didn't expect to have a car stop there.
Yeah, not a great situation to be in. As we click over 20 minutes in pre-qual now, qualifying. So, boys winding down the last bit of the time.
On a positive note for Harrison, he's got 57 laps to get himself back into the race. So there's plenty of time to make your way through the field. He's obviously got some decent speed in the car. So expect big things from Harrison during the race. Thomas Freeman from Fishy has jumped into 8th position as the qualifying session has come to an end.
Oh, that's great. Good work, Thomas. Going to be interesting. I think that's everybody now circulated back out. I know Chasty looks like he's on a lap here. On a bit wide. He's off a lap now. Gave it everything there to finish. Freeman's ducking into the pits. And Morris has stopped. Delaney. That I'd say he's done as well.
Kenny Ladder still on a flyer. Given up, he's locked it up. So
yep. I think boys are all done, I think, Mark. So just waiting for the server to kick over. Jamie Dyke, the last man on track. Some impressive work there. Nice car control. Righto. We might take this opportunity now, hopefully, to fire up our grid positions and have a quick look. So on pole, we have James Scott from Synergy Sim Racing. Alongside him, Cameron G. Jones. Blake Warboys in the top 3 on the second row, alongside Kenneth Ladder. Jordan Ross from Synergy Sim Racing in 5th. Scotty Gamble from Evolution Racing Team in 6th. Great result for Scotty with his teammate Robert Gibbs back in 7th alongside Damien Johnstone. Thomas Freeman on 9th from Fishy Motorsports with James Chastanet from Banter Alliance in 10th with his teammate Paul Young behind in 11th alongside Harrison Dengate, who we believe may be starting pit row, but we'll double check that. As we continue on down this grid, we then have Ben Morris from Phase 4 Motorsports, Michael Angus from Fishy, Simon Chadwick from 9.5 Simsport, Matt Thomas in 16th, Michael Whiting from Fishy Motorsports in 17th, Blake Delaney in 18th, James Masciuto in 19th with Brady Baldwin in 20th from High Octane Simsports, Jamie Dyke from Fishy in 21st alongside teammate David Coleman with Troy Maguire and David Kirby, his fellow teammates in the row behind. And then in the next row, we have Craig Schultz from 9.5 Simsports alongside 1.9 MX Wraps Racing's Connor Nixon. Phoenix Racing's Tim Mulford in 27th alongside Michael Stewart from Hypersonic Racing in 28th. Warren Davis from the Banter Alliance in 29th. Matty Stewart from 1.9 MX Wraps in 30th. Zach McDonald from 9.5 Simsports in 31st alongside Synergy Sim Racing's Jamie McKnight. With his teammate Luke Holland back in 33rd, with Scott McCune sharing the row with him from Hypersonic Sim Racing. The Doctor, Paul Warwick from Fishy Motorsports in 35th, alongside Chris Funky Miller in 36th from Quantum Pecky Performance Racing. Then after that, we then have Ryan Kerr from Marauders Racing and alongside Roy Clark from Banter Alliance. Ty Delaney from Fishy Motorsports in 39th. Andrew Hoffman from WK&P in 40th, alongside behind him is his teammate Luke Power. Then we have Sebastian, our race control, and Josh Drage is the safety car driver this evening.
So I see Harrison's on the grid, John. So obviously there was no penalty there. I thought I heard someone call his number, but obviously I was wrong. So good to see Harrison on his grid box and starting in P11.
That is awesome news. So at least we shouldn't be too far away. Should be about 10 seconds away from firing up for a start of this one.
Sorry, that's P12 for Harrison.
P12, yep. I think my Brady Baldwin's not on the grid, so maybe it could be him starting from pit lane. Anyway, we're about to grid up here. We're about to get going. Lights are on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Green flag. We are racing. 250 Ks ahead of these boys. As we just continue on now. And James Scott gets through cleanly. It looks like we're going to be getting away here with a reasonable start. As we roll around the corner into the next bit. It's looking quite good here.
Blake Warboy's running wide, heading into Southern Loop there. I think he's off the track. That's a real shame for
in the
Blake.
background there, absolutely. Didn't quite see what happened there. Andrew Hoffman's off as well. We'll come back to that and try and find it out as we come down into Miller Corner. The other boys off there. A lot of movement in the background now. As we continue on. Jump back up onto James Scott. Looks like he's getting a nice little gap away here from Kenneth Ladder. Kenny Ladder under pressure from Connor Nixon behind. Sorry, from Cameron G. Jones behind. As we roll into the next bit. And coming down into MG for the first time. Looks like they're all fairly clear through there. We might try and have a look what happened to Warboys. Try and decipher some of the mess that we've got here. We might go back.
I did see him and Jordan Ross battling off the start. Jordan got a great start. Blake didn't get a great start, and then they were too wide heading into Southern Loop, and I think Blake just drifted a little bit wide and got caught in the marbles and couldn't bring it back.
Yeah. And Roy Clark was another one. Well, someone on the inside there. Roy Clark, a little bit of contact with Scotty McCune. Spun Scotty McCune around. A little bit disappointing for Scotty there. And let's have a look at Hoffman. And I've just got to bail on you. We'll go back to live pictures. And I've just got to bail on you for 10 seconds, Mark.
We've got James Scott out in front. He's got nearly a second on Kenneth Ladder in second spot with Jordan Ross in third. Cameron Jones doing a great job in fourth place with Scotty Gamble making a move. Oh no, that was Robert Gibbs actually down the inside of Damian Johnson there at MG. So that was a good move there from Robert. Great move under brakes. At the moment, the Synergy Sim boys are running 1, 2, 3, and they're looking very, very strong with James Scott out in front. I'm not sure that anyone's got the pace to go with James at the moment, but we'll just see how this unfolds over the next 4 or 5 laps when the tyres start to wear out a bit, and see who's got the good car underneath them on used tyres.
And we've got a drive-through penalty for Scotty McCune for contact that we saw earlier with Roy Clark. Bit of an interesting one. Roy Clark's crashed again, by the way, but we'll come back to that later. Sorry about that, guys. Just had to jump out for a minute. So, yeah, still a fair battle in behind Kenny Ladder here, Mark.
Yeah, Kenny's showing good speed. He had good speed at the Vets race here last week. He's a solid performer. He's a good hard racer. But he's got his team boss behind him, Jordan Ross, and we've seen in this team that there's no team orders. It's all for one and one for all, and you just got to do your best, no matter who you're racing in the team. So I'm sure Jordan will be trying to put a bit of pressure on Kenny. Cameron Jones doing a great job. He missed out on the first week of racing, but he's back with a vengeance tonight, and he's sitting in fourth spot. And then we got the ERT boys in fifth and sixth with Scott Gamble and Robert Gibbs.
Might just quickly jump on here, have a little bit of a look. As you can see, got one of the 9.5 boys in there, bit of a battling on behind Harrison Dengate. So, of course, Simon Chadwick in the mix of it here with Michael Whiting sitting behind him. Definitely some battle packs all the way through. Jordan Ross now trying to make a move, I think. Sorry, Cameron G. Jones trying to make a move on Jordan Ross. So we're only 4 laps in here, still 57 to go. Let's have a look. Robert Gibbs, Scotty Gamble, nicely all tucked up as well in 5th and 6th for the ERT boys. They're nicely in this trainee, tucked up behind them. They've got John Stone, but they're tucked up in here with Campbell. These guys getting right in the slipstream here.
Yeah, the ERT boys doing really well again tonight. They debuted with us last week. Both these drivers put on good performances last week, and we're seeing once again that they're here to race, and they're here to race hard, and it's great to have them on board in the East Coast Series.
Absolutely. Been working very hard for a long time to get some ERT cars to race in this series, and it's great to have them after a couple of seasons, sorry. We might just have a bit of a look a bit further down the pack, as we're still battling pretty strong up here, but Thomas Freeman, who we talked about earlier, he's tucked up behind Chasty, sitting in 9th spot. So another one playing the draft game. Go a little bit further, you got Dengate tucked up behind Michael Angus. And Simon Chadwick behind him. Luke Holland's another one. Luke Holland's up 9 spots. Great start for Luke. He's battling away with Zach McDonald and Matty Stewart. A great little battle pack here. Paul Warwick sitting under the back of these guys. 2 wide down into MG. There's some good little battles everywhere at the moment. And let's go back another pack. Michael Stewart, of course. They got Stewie here battling away pretty hard. He's tucked up right behind Ty Delaney. So the young fishy, the little minnow, doing a really good job here. He's managed to get himself up 8 spots on that start. So definitely got some good racing going on. They're still very bunched up at the front, as we'll jump back on with Jordan Ross. So he's got Kenny Ladder in front. And then he's got this ever-charging train behind him of Jones, Gamble, Gibbs and Johnston.
Yeah, this is a high-quality battle pack, this one. There's some pretty big eye rate in this battle pack, and these boys, are here to fight hard for every position.
Absolutely. You can see looking their way around the track, trying to find any loophole they can get.
One thing I will make a note of is how well James Scott's starts have been this season compared to the struggles he showed in quite a few races last season. He's been able to launch very neatly and cleanly in all 3 races so far. So it's good to see James has got that worked out.
Yeah, definitely big improvement in that part of his racing. Just backs that up with his raw speed. He's definitely unstoppable. As we jump on here with Damien Johnstone, we get to see the view from his car. Cameron G. Jones there, a little bit squirrely coming out of the southern loop. As we said at the start of the broadcast, it's a track you got to look after those fronts. It's very hard to get around that southern loop a bit later on. And big shout out to Mick Dumbrell, who's jumped in the chat as well. Hope all is well with you, Mick. You've been seeing some safe skies, mate.
Yeah, it's good to see Mick viewing, and it's good to have Mick back on track in the Vet Series. Missed him last season, but he's come back with a vengeance. He's been straight inside the top 10 for the start of the season, so he's yeah, he's doing really well, and it's good to have him back.
One of the quality characters we have in our Vets group. It's continuing on here now. We jump back on. We'll have a look at a few other packs that are going around. Jump back. Jamie Mashudo's made a bit of a move here. Jump on different cam to have a bit of a look. You can see he's got Warboys tucked up behind him. Warboys, of course, started on the second row, so definitely fighting with a bit of a comeback here.
Yeah, without a doubt, Blake will be feeling a little bit frustrated at the moment, but he's definitely got the pace to fight his way back through the field. You know, he'll be hard pushed to get on the podium, but he's certainly got the ability to get inside the top 10. So, yeah, once he gets a bit of a sniff, he's very hard to stop around here, Blake.
Absolutely. And see Blake, of course, running the Stewart, the Balin Stewart Foundation logo on the roof of his car there. A little bit of a glitch somewhere, but track map's doing a bit of strange stuff, but it's still there. It's just lost its lines, which is quite funny. Anyway, we'll continue on. So might just jump back up the front, have a look how Jordan Ross is getting on. So he's still nicely tucked up behind Kenny Ladder. Cameron G. Jones dropping back a little bit. Look like Damien Johnstone trying to put a move on Robert Gibbs.
Robert must have got a bad exit on onto the front straight there and opened the door up for Damien to get down the inside of him, but I'm not sure if he got the job done or not. No, it doesn't look like he has.
No, he doesn't. Den Gates had an off. We might have a quick look, see what's happened to Harrison. Oh, a little bit loose, a little bit too quick there coming in through Doohan on his own accord. Managed to get it back on the track without taking anyone else out, so he's done well. And a big hola to race control. Seb's jumped in the chat, so obviously they haven't got much going on up there tonight.
Yeah, like we said earlier, this is one of them tracks that doesn't really throw up many safety cars. We do see a few incidents here because there is some high-speed braking duels that can happen here, but generally the racing is pretty clean around here, and it's mainly driver error that causes any problems.
Absolutely. See Cameron G. Jones tucked right up behind Jordan Ross here. He might get a run on the draft.
Tough work when Jordan's getting a big pull, big toe down the straight from Kenny Ladder as well.
Yeah. See Gibbs slightly getting dropped off the back of this pack now. Don't want to, as I say, don't want to lose that draft. It can get very costly.
Yeah, maybe Robert just burned his tyres up a little bit and he just needs some.
Jordan's through on Ladder. Jones having a look on the outside now going through Siberia. And Scotty Gamble looking to buy into this as well. Side by side. Good respectful driving here. It's not an easy part to say side by side.
You could see Cameron struggling to pull it up there to get down into MG, but he's done a great job to hang on, and Scotty Gamble was looking to profit off that, but Cameron's been able to hold position.
Absolutely, done very well. And of course, Jordan Ross got past ladder there, and he's off like a shot. So definitely all happening quite quickly. Might just jump back. Michael Angus, Michael Whiting battling it out now. Little battle group here with Chadwick and Dengate. Dengate's managed to get onto the back of this group. Sort of about 11 laps in now. So those that have gone a little bit too hard or a bit deep on a couple of corners, the tyres are going to be starting to feel it a little bit. Setup is important around here to get right. See Chadwick having a bit of a look on the inside, going into Miller. And Angus goes a little bit deep and opens the door up for a few of them. As you were saying before, Marcus, those battles under heavy braking can be costly.
Yeah, absolutely, and such a high-speed track, when you make a slight mistake under brakes and you get a bad exit, you just seem you drop like a stone. You really can't afford to make any big mistakes.
That was a catch and a half by Matt Thompson there. Sorry, talk over you there, mate.
That's okay, John. Yeah, I was just saying, like, you just cannot afford to make a mistake under brakes because you compromise your exit speed and you really drop like a stone around here because it's such a high-speed track.
Absolutely. Someone stopped. Ty Delaney's off in the weeds there at the back of the track. He hasn't got it going yet, so hopefully.
Siberia, by the look of it.
Yeah, very interesting part to park her up. No, he's got it going. And Luke Powell was the other one who's had a bit of an incident. What Luke's happened to him. And hard under the brakes into Miller, and around she goes. That's pretty stock standard. And back up front, these boys still battling well. Jordan's got away a little bit, but he hasn't managed to break the toe for these guys behind. So they're slowly itching their way back again. Of course, the big winner of this is James Scott. He's nicely now 5 seconds up the road. Bit like the track surface on our track map. He's gone.
Yeah, just looking back, just looking at the replay there of Ty Delaney, it looked like he got a couple of netcode hits, unfortunately, and yeah, he copped a big penalty from nothing of his own doing. So bad luck there for Ty.
I think I might have found that one now. Let's just have a quick look at Supercheap Auto replay. A little bit there. So some good driving so far, some good big moves. Paul Warwick's up 12 spots. The Doctor, Luke Holland, up 11 spots. One of our big improvers that we've seen so far in the first 2 rounds of this season. Up 9 spots. Warren Davis into the top 20. Then we go a bit further up. Michael Whiting's up 5 spots. We did say to keep an eye out for those fishy boys. And of course, Jordan Ross, who is sitting in second place, just in front of Kenny Ladder here. He's up 3 spots, which is a great effort considering the quality of this top 10. Might just go back, have a quick look at how Michael Stewart's getting on. He's battling away nicely here with Zach McDonald. Great little drive. Of course, Zach, one of the new 9.5 Sim Sports drivers. A great little drive here.
Interesting. Not a lot of movement in the top 10. 1 or 2 positions gained for drivers in the top 10. But in this mid pack, there's some guys making some big gains, and there's some guys making some big losses. So that mid pack is really hard fought at the moment.
The War Boys is now into 21st, so he's managed to get his way back up a bit. I think he was down. I think he was down about 30th at one stage after that Southern Loop off track that we had at the start of the race. A little bit of panel rubbing here between Chadwick and Whiting. And Chadwick, Simon, no. Another one off at Siberia. And jump up here, Cameron G. Jones looking quite racy again. Those Robert Gibbs, this boys have all bunched it back up nose to tail. Right up behind Jordan Rossi now. Kenny Ladder's got his way back through again. Going through my notes, did Jordan make a little mistake somewhere? It's not showing up. Let's just have a quick look.
I missed that one.
Let's have a quick look at Kenny going past Jordan. Jordan a little bit slow in to the corner there. Opens the door up. It's coming. And they're all bunched up again. Go back to live pictures. Cameron G. Jones still tucked up behind these guys as we come into Miller corner.
Ty Delaney struggling at the moment, doing a little bit of greenkeeping out there, struggling to get back on track, but
Dengate and Whiting side by side through Siberia. It's like a big school of fish there behind young Harrison. Definitely being attacked by the sushi train. Of course, big shout out to all of the fishy fans out there. Great having the Fishy Boys part of the East Coast series. Let's jump back onto that front group again. Keep an eye on that as we start lap 16. So we're going to jump on with Michael. And we're going to have a lap of silence. course, lap of silence dedicated to young Balin Stewart on lap 16. Of course, Balin was 16 a year ago and had a fateful accident. Yeah, so big. I really would love everyone if they could go check out the Balin Stewart Foundation. I've got the website up on the page. Go check it out. Have a read of the story. Make some donations. Get involved. Yeah, it's just very heartfelt story. The resilience of Michael and Kerry and his wife Kerry is just remarkable as well. Yeah, a big, yeah. I lost for words, Mark.
Yeah, I agree, John. It's a very difficult thing to talk about. It touched the vets community greatly because Michael's been a long time member of the vets community and he's now joined the East Coast community. But yeah, anybody out there watching, check out the website. If you can help out the Balin Stewart Foundation, that'd be great. The most important thing I think is the message to get out there that we need our youths, especially to stop carrying weapons on them. There's no need for it, and Balin was caught up in a really unfortunate incident, and yeah, we just need our young people to understand the message that we're trying to get across.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for jumping in there, Mark. Anyway, we might have a bit of a chat later with Michael if we're lucky, but we might just jump on and carry on here with how we're going with this race. So, of course, we're now up to lap 18, so a bit of a sit rep. James Scott is 8 seconds out from Kenny Ladder. He's managed to pull a second, now out, or a second and a half out from Jordan Ross. Jordan Ross is under a bit of pressure from Robert Gibbs. Cam Jones has dropped back another spot now, and he's battling it out with Scotty Gamble. Thomas Freeman and Damien Johnstone are just latched onto the back of this group. So Robert Gibbs appears to be the big mover at the moment. As we sort of said earlier, looking after tyres will be part of a strategy here. So maybe...
Yeah, interesting. Just before we had the lap of silence there, we were talking about Robert Gibbs struggling, and then we've come back and he's actually made 2 or 3 spots. So not sure if Cameron Jones and Scotty Gamble maybe came together or rubbed panels somewhere, but Robert's certainly the beneficiary of anything that may have happened.
Absolutely. Of course, there's one thing I didn't show, or only caught a glimpse of there too on lap 16, as all the drivers came across the line. All the drivers also flashed their lights as a sign of respect to Balin as well. So I think we might have seen 1 or 2 of them, but I sort of didn't do the big sit on the main straight and watch everyone flash. But yeah, sort of pass that on. And that Harrison Dengate battle hasn't stopped either. He's still got Michael Angus, Jamie Dyke and Matt Thompson up behind him. So they're starting to spread out a little bit. So it won't be too long. We're starting to see some of the back markers roll the dice going in for the undercut. So we're not too far away, I think, Mark, from seeing some stops.
No, that's right. And the other one we might mention is Blake Delaney, who's up into 21st now after having his off at Southern Loop on the opening lap and going all the way to the back of the field.
Absolutely, another one that's done really well there. As we're starting to see a few roll in, Chastanoof, Morris, Young, Dengate, Thompson and Warboys have all dropped into the pits now. In that first stop out of the way. So interesting, waiting to see who blinks first for this group we've got here. So nose to tail. And looks like we've got one of the Luke Power off there in front here. Sounds like he's got it going again. As the boys get themselves going out of it. Robert Gibbs here. All over the back of Jordan Ross still. A post-race penalty from Matt Stewart. Contact with car 50. There was less than 5 spots. A little bit of an off-track there for Robert Gibbs. Giving it a bit of what for.
Shouldn't lose too much there with the toe from Jordan in front. But yeah, Roberts really bounced back from 5 laps ago where we thought he was struggling a bit, but he's maybe he was just conserving his tyres, and he's really starting to push on now.
Absolutely. And of course, Freeman, Angus, Nixon, Michael Stewart, Chadwick, Zach McDonald and Brady Baldwin now jumping in the pits. Cameron G. Jones not letting these boys get away, and Scotty Gamble still hanging on to the back of this pack as well. They're starting to see a little bit of a shuffle. Rolling to lap 21. James Scott's put the hammer down again. He's now just about pushed it out to 9 seconds. The lead to second. First to second. Let's see if any of these boys blink. You try the undercutty. You've sat behind Jordan Ross for a fair while. What do? We keep going. Damien Johnstone's rolled the dice and gone in. Might jump on Blake Delaney. Have a bit of a look. Blake's now tucked up in behind Dave Coleman and Jamie Masciuto.
Yeah, I'm not sure what lap Jamie Machado pitted, but I think he was one of the first to blink. Or has he pitted? No, he hasn't yet. Sorry,
Hasn't, no. First man on track that is pitted is Thomas Freeman. Thomas is the first one to roll the dice. Did that a few laps ago. Back up to Ross. Boys working their way through Siberia at the moment, so can't be too far away before we start seeing our race leaders coming in. Blake Warboys is in the 24th spot, up 21, down 21 spots from where he started. So he's fighting his way back. He's one of the ones that have pitted already. So very interesting to see. Jump back up. Just come down through MG. And
looks like Damien Johnson's been jumped by Thomas Freeman, Ben Morris and James Chastaneuf in that round of pit stops. Damien just had to put a fair bit of fuel in by the look, so yeah, he might make that back on the next lot of pit stops as long as he's not held up too much.
Definitely a interesting race at the moment. Gone 23 laps, not quite halfway. No safety cars. There's Gamble and Dyke are now in the pits. But no safety cars. These boys have really been pushing each other, except for James Scott, of course, who's walked away a little bit. Out to a 10-second gap at the moment. Seeing those that have been managed to save a lot of fuel. We've got Jamie McKnight. He's worked his way up into the top 10. Good old People's Champion, battling away quite hard here.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie executed a great race strategy in Vets last week where he didn't have his best qualifying. I think he was in 33rd or something back there, but he managed to fight his way back into the top 10 by come the end of the race. And yeah, Jamie's strategy is usually a spot on, so no surprises to see him up 20 spots at the moment.
So Damien Johnstone here now tucked up behind James Chastaneuf as Gibson Jones comes in. We're starting to see the last of our leaders rolling in. We've still got Scott, Ladder and Ross. Synergy Sim Racing Boys definitely going long tonight.
Interesting that Damien Johnson was able to jump Scotty Gamble there as well. Slight undercut paid big dividends.
Absolutely. Thomas Freeman now up into 11th. Starting to see a few more roll through with Maguire in the pits as well. Might just throw up the pit strategy window so you can see that Ladder, Ross, Mashudo, Coleman, Delaney haven't pitted yet. And Damien Johnstone has got a post-race point penalty for multiple use. Hang on, get rid of that. I can't read it. Multiple use of flashing lights on lap 19, which is an interesting one. It's leave that one for the powers that be. Not touching that one, Mark. Kenny Ladder rolls in.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the rules in the regulations are with flashing lights. Obviously, there's something in there that says you can't do it, and race control have stepped in, and they probably want to stamp this out early on in the season.
Yep. As you've got Dave Coleman there. Jump back on the car. Camera catch us up. Looks like he's running a bit of a compact. We're not sure what's happened to Dave. As Ladder and Delaney are now in the pits. So only left now with James Scott, Jordan Ross, Jamie Mashudo, who have not pitted. So, sorry, and Dave Coleman. So, definitely a long roll of the dice for a few of these boys. Just starting to see Gibbs has come back out. He's well behind Cameron G. Jones. The big winner from the first round of pit stops has been the Thomas Freeman, who's now sitting in 4th spot. So War Boys has got himself back up into the top 16. So he's battled back quite well after the pit stops as well. Scotty Gamble's in 11th. He's tucked right up behind Kenneth Ladder again. These ERT boys will be sick of looking at the back of these SSR cars. I'm sure Jordan will be letting Brenton know well about it as well. A little bit of Jordan Ross has rolled the dice to go in. Damien Johnstone's just been passed by Ladder and Gamble.
Yeah, I think Damien was being generous to Kenny there, and probably done himself a bit of no favours and lost out to Scotty Gamble as well.
So Thomas Freeman's up 5 spots now into 4th. Got to expect to see a Shudo roll off into the pits shortly. James Scott. James using the most of that big gap that he had off everybody, I think, to go as long as possible. Definitely some good fuel-saving endurance driving by James.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably started with a full tank. Interesting that, you know, some of the people that have stopped, looks like Thomas Freeman was stopped for 20.8 seconds according to mine, but then you've got the likes of Kenny Ladder, Scott Gamble, Damien Johnson, all are up around the 29, 30 second mark. So big difference in fuel loads there.
Absolutely. Freeman only going with 20 seconds, as you said. So it'll be very interesting to see how it rolls out in the next set of stops. I think a few of these boys, with their strategies, the last thing they're going to want now is a safety car. Bring out the word and see if we can get the commentator's curse to come out. But
yeah, well, we're renowned for that. So yeah, I'm not going to focus on any particular driver.
Yeah, we'll keep rolling along. Mashudo's now rolled off into the pits. James Scott must be running on vapours by now. 27 laps, fair effort. Doing a very good job there, working his way through a bit of traffic with Mulford and Chadwick behind him.
Another thing of note, I did hear Damien Johnson and race control back and forth a little bit, and Damien said the reason his lights were flashing is that he had engaged his pit lane limiter by accident. I think that's what I heard. So we may see that penalty dropped. I'm not sure. I don't want to preempt anything, but they may discuss that post race, I think.
Yeah, the old pit lane limiter would definitely do that to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he's the lights were flashing, because the limiter was on.
And James Scott's now rolled the dice after 27 laps and is heading into the pits for some fuel. And Thomas Freeman, and the watch course, 10-second quicker stop than everyone around him. Cameron G. Jones now giving him the hurry up as well.
Yeah, Cameron Jones, he was a short fill as well, so they may pay the price a little bit later on down the track.
James Scott just coming out now. Managed to stay in front of these boys, I think. Just. Of course. Looking at James in for 31.1 seconds, so definitely build it right up. Oh yeah, Freeman, Jones in that 20-second stop. Gibbs on the 25. Morris on a 23. And everyone else is sort of balanced roughly around the same, so. Interesting to see when these boys roll the dice for their next stop. Probably expect it somewhere around lap 40 to 45 would be my guess.
Yeah, I think you're right there, John. I think what we'll see with James's next stop is probably be, I'm sure it'll be tyres only. I'm sure he's got enough fuel to get home if he managed 27 laps on that opening stint.
Absolutely, in that sense that probably just going to stop, grab 2 tyres and go. Well, he's managed to get around that first stint.
I think the one that'll be frustrated here a little bit will be Cameron Jones, because he's had great pace all night and he's short filled, but he's been caught behind Thomas Freeman. So I'm sure Cameron probably was hoping to make a bit of a gain on a short fill, but Thomas wisely has played the same strategy and he's made a ton of spots up, so be interesting to see how this one plays out over the course of the night now.
There you go, you're on the money there, Mark. Race controls revoked the penalty for Damien Johnstone. Common sense has prevailed. As Kenneth Latta has a look up the inside of Ben Morris. Can't quite get the job done. Couple of lap cars in front coming up with Scotty McCune. Not sure who's in front of Scotty. Looks like they're battling away. As we said earlier at the start of the broadcast, this is a track where you don't really want to drop off a train. You don't really want to have somebody you can slipstream off. And the boys are now starting to spread out a fair bit.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's one of them tracks where it's very easy to overdrive the car and you can chew through the tyres very quickly and you pay a hell of a price after about 10 laps of that. And yeah, it's just one of them tracks that, because it's high speed, it is very easy to overdrive here and push the car a little bit beyond its limits. And that's one thing this car doesn't like, is being pushed and having lateral load put through the wheels.
Absolutely. And Thomas Freeman now under a lot of pressure still from Cameron G. Jones from Century Motorsports. Don't want to battle too much. Going to allow Robert Gibbs to get onto the back of these boys. Interestingly, Gibbs, Ross, and back to Morris, all without that toe that we were talking about.
Kenny Ladder and Scotty Gamble, the big losers in that round of pit stops. They've both dropped to the back end of the top 10 now, whereas they were, Kenny was running P2, P3, P4 all night. So he's down in P8 at the moment, and Scotty Gamble's in P9, but they've had long fuels, so they might make some of that ground back up on the second round of pit stops.
Paul Young's just managed to make his way past Michael Whiting. Michael, of course, is up 5 spots from where he started. Great effort. Ben Morris is up 7. Blake Warboys just about got himself back in touch with the top 10, which is a great effort from great recovery drive from lap 1 in Southern Loop. So seeing some good results happening here.
Yeah, big effort from Blake, and you'd maybe think he might have short filled, but he didn't. He's one of the long fill boys out there. He was stopped just over 28 seconds for fuel. So considering he's stopped as long as he did, and he's almost inside the top 10, it's a great effort to come back from his lap 1 incident.
Absolutely. And Ladder about to have a look into Miller. A little bit of a tap. Oh, no. Ben Morris goes sliding off. That'll be one for race control. Expect to hear him on the radio shortly.
31 into MG.
Yep. Might just check in with Scotty Gamble. Scotty Gamble, as we said, and Ladder, 2 big losers out of that round of first stops.
Yeah, it looked like there was a bunch of neck code in that one as well.
Let's come down the hill into MG. Damien Johnstone's still hanging onto the back of these boys. He hasn't dropped off. And of course, while we're sitting on lap 32, we might take a quick chance here to chuck up a quick little ad to thank our sensational sponsor, Supercheap Auto.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
And people who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name. Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super.
Yep. Awesome company. Great to have them involved.
43, no further action, no net code.
And you're on the money there, Mark. Net code was a call. As we jump on with Michael Whiting now. Michael Whiting still battling with Paul Young. Warboys has lashed onto the back of this battle now. A great little drive from Blake to recover.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Ben Morris. He was doing a great job. He's still inside the top 10 in 10th at the moment. Yeah, a little bit frustrating for him. Kenny Ladder didn't do anything wrong. It's just one of them things with iRacing with the net code. You feel like you've been hit and you get sent off the track, but the car that you think's hit you hasn't felt anything and wonders what's happened. So yeah, unfortunate for Ben, but it's one of them things that we all have to put up with sim racing, unfortunately.
Absolutely. A little bit enjoyable. Not enjoyable, sorry, but if that's the worst thing that happens to you, you're doing okay.
Yeah, absolutely, John. It's and it doesn't happen to week in, week out. It's just one of them things that it pops up now and then, and it's just frustrating for all involved.
Great little battle here up the back of the pack. We've got Hoffy hunting down Roy Clark. Hoffy, this is his first race because he missed race 1 because of the holiday period. His first race in the East Coast Series this season. And a great little battle here with Warren Davis, Scotty McCune, Roy Clark and Luke Hollands. I think it's about 20 seconds up the road from these boys. So they're battling away. There's a jump back up on War Boys. He's managed to get past Paul Young. Whiting, the next man in front of him there. And Thomas Freeman still holding up Cameron G. Jones. Cameron not having the pace to get an attack done here. As we said, these two boys running the short stop strategy.
Yeah, it's not an easy place to get a move done, especially at this level of racing, because all these boys are so good under brakes. It's very difficult to execute a pass.
A little bit of lap traffic might change the question. No, they all get through cleanly. Good work there by Roy.
Yeah, Roy doing a great job there, giving the boys a clean run through.
Might just jump back on Michael Angus and Dengate. This little group here is really all closed up together. Dengate, Angus, Blake Delaney, Jamie Mashudo. Of course, Michael with his teammate behind him. We all know Blake Delaney, good at fuel saving, good at race strategy in these longer, more classic style races. 250 Ks we're doing tonight, over 57 laps, 35 done.
Yeah, this is a battle for, what is it, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. It's, and it's pretty intense racing here for these boys. So it just goes to show you how tough it is right throughout the field. Like there's nothing given in these races. You've got to earn everything.
Absolutely. In that sense, it's really, really great. That's what I like about the East Coast. We got some big name drivers, some good drivers, some up and coming drivers. And we're seeing battles like this, 4 cars deep. And there's pretty much 3 or 4 spots where we can go and look and try and keep an eye on. And we might jump back up, have a look how Ken Latter and Scotty Gamble are getting on. I've dropped Damien Johnstone a little bit at the moment. But as we saw in the first stint, got to look after those tyres a little bit.
Yeah, I think Damien's tyres are a couple of laps older than these two boys in front, but Damien's just one of them rock solid racers who is thereabouts no matter what race he's in. He always gives himself a chance.
Absolutely. Of course, Damien came in on lap 21. Latter, of course, and at the front of this little group, he came in on lap 24. So a couple of laps difference, but it does make a huge difference. And we saw some great strategies there with Mashudo pushing it out 26 and Scott out 27 laps. But yeah, we've got to be interesting to see Warboys, Young, Morris, Chastaneff all came in on lap 19 and Whiting on 17. So interesting to see how these guys go, rolling the dice a little bit longer in this stint.
Great move there by Scotty Gamble at the old Honda corner. Is it called Miller Corner now?
Yep.
Up the inside of Kenny Ladder. So saw Kenny punishing his tyres a little bit coming out of Southern Loop, and Scotty Gamble was able to pounce there, and a great move.
Let's jump on the replay. Nicely executed by Scotty. Now interesting to see with a bit of clean air in front whether he can break the toe for the boys behind. Might just jump up again, have a look at that Michael Angus battle. under a lot of pressure from Blake Delaney. They're all working quite well. And might jump back. Dave Coleman, if he took his fast repair at the last stop, and he's battling with Matt Thompson and Paul Warwick in front of these guys. So another great little battle pack that's started to form up. Matt Thomas all over the back of the Doctor. Just watch
Yeah,
this.
Michael Angus doing a great job tonight. He's one of them quiet achievers, isn't he?
Absolutely. We got some, bit of a lock up by the dock. Let's open the door and let a few through. Might just jump back up. Kenneth Latta just serving up the inside again on Scotty Gamble. See if he can hold it outside Siberia. Making the long way round. Going to be too wide up the Hayshed. And he manages to hang on. Damien Johnstone back in the fray of this battle again.
Was Kenny and Scotty Gamble no stranger to each other? These boys duel it out on a Thursday night as well in the vet series.
Jump back on. We'll have a quick look at Thomas Freeman. And load laps 37. It's been told by race control that Jordan Ross had a huge save on lap 37. Coming out of doing. Yeah, it's one I missed.
Cameron Jones with a dive up the inside of Thomas Freeman at Miller Corner and gets the job done.
Absolutely. Robert Gibbs now looking to get into the battle of this one as well. Jump back down to Mashudo. Dengate staying in front of these boys. Blake Delaney in this battle as well. James Mashudo from Phase 4 Motorsport. This group's starting to get a little bit more racier.
I'm sure Harrison will be telling these boys to race hard amongst each other for another few laps and see if he can just eke out a little bit more of a gap, just as I see him lighten up the rears on the exit of Siberia.
He's going to jump back up as Freeman tucked up behind Jones this time. Right up in there. So do we see another move coming down into Miller? Stoner corner. A hard braking zone. Oh, we're all through cleanly this time. We go back to that Mashudo battle. As these boys through doing too wide into the southern loop. Not an easy part of the track to be running too wide either. Say the least. Down into Miller. Chase continues. Might just go back to another little one. What's happened to Warboys? Warboys has done his second stop. He's back in 23rd spot at the moment. So I'm interested to see how that second stop rolls out for him. And so he's not showing up there because he's out of the top 20. So a few boys now starting to roll with that pit strategy. So we've seen Morris come in for his second, Warboys, Young, and Chastanoof. So a few of those earlier lap 19 stoppers getting it out of the way.
The unfortunate thing for Blake here is he's come out in traffic. He probably would have wanted a little bit more clear air than what he's got at the moment, but he's got, is it Paul Young or James? Yeah, Paul Young in front of him. and Tim Mulford just in front of Paul. So yeah, Blake will want to clear these pretty quickly if he's going to make this.
Work for him, yeah.
Yep.
Might just jump back. It's tucked right up behind. Cockpit view. A look. The other two are drafting. Through doing. That's a hairy spot to be too wide as well. The Southern Leap, so he's going to get past Paul Young there. Can he quickly get past Melford?
I would say on fresh tyres, he's probably got a pretty big chance of getting past Mulford here.
Yep. Job done before we get out of Youngie looking around the outside there. Would have become the inside. So Warboys is off. And might just jump back up. Cameron G. Jones, Gamble and John Stone are into the pits, by the way, this lap.
This will be interesting to see what price Jones and Freeman pay here for that shorter fueling earlier.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how the dice rolls on that one. As Angus and Nixon have come in as well to pit. Jump on with Funky Miller for a second. He's right up behind Roy Clark. He's battle for 34th, 35th. Funky getting a bit loose, a bit squirrely. Manages to hang on. Is he going to get past Roy? Roy hanging tough in Siberia. Good bit of driving here from two of the vets boys.
Yeah, of course, Chris Funky Miller. His first season with us in the East Coast Series. He's got one season, I think, under his belt in vets, maybe two, and he's progressed through Split 2 into Split 1, and he's doing a great job. He's a big improver, and yeah, it's great to have him here, and he's going to learn a lot of racecraft and a lot of tough racing in this series. So, and that'll improve him for the vet series as well.
Definitely one of the series that you get a fair bit of learning in this one. Just watching some of the guys you're racing with are absolutely great things, people to study. There's Freeman and Jones still battling it out. We haven't seen them roll the dice. Ladder's gone in. Jamie Masciuto, he's battling away in 8th. He's up 11 spots. Jamie Dyke still got to do his second stop, but he's up 15 into the top 6. Great drive from the big goldfish. And battling coming out of the pits, Connor Nixon now, tucked up behind Dave Coleman. Or Warwick in the battle here as well. A few little battles. Scotty Gamble's managed to get himself in front of Kenny Ladder in that pit stop.
Yeah, interesting one, that one. Kenny putting a bit of pressure on Scott at the moment.
Oh, Scotty hangs on. Keep an eye on that battle. Warboys, his fresh tyres after his second stop. He's tucked up beside Brady Baldwin. Works his way past there. Simon James Chastanet, Siberia there, the next car up the track. So he's got a bit of work to do by himself with no slipstream. And just have a bit of a look back up here with Freeman and Gibbs. And Jones. Of course, you'd be a little bit worried if you were Gibbs that these guys might be holding you up a little bit.
I think, I'm sure Robert will probably make the call that if he feels like his lap times are being impeded, then he needs to get in and get that second stop done, I think. Like, otherwise, you're just going to drop, a couple of seconds and then you can't make that back up on track.
Definitely the case, I think, is going on there. As we can see, Jamie Dyke and Jamie Masciuto have gone in. And Kenny Ladder, it's not going to let Scotty Gamble walk away from him here. I think he's working pretty hard to hang on.
Yeah, I've got to say, Scott's done a great job to stay in front of Kenny because Scott came in a lap or two before Ken, and he's been able to negate that new tyre advantage Ken had when he came out of the pit. So I'm expecting Scott to probably hang tough here and hold on to this.
It's got very experienced racer. Has been a series winner in the Vet Series, winning last season. So doing very well here. And Cameron G. Jones has now gone in the pits. Just frees Freeman up.
I think it was Greg Favell won last season. I think Scott was
Yep,
the season before.
Yep.
Yep, and I think Scott was P2 last season. I'm pretty sure. So, but no matter what, Scott is a great racer. He's a great competitor, and he is super helpful for the new guys in vets. He's always giving people a hand to get quicker and set their rigs up properly and give them good information. So Scott's an asset to any series.
So we still have James Scott, Thomas Freeman, Robert Gibbs, Jordan Ross to still pit in that lead group. Tim Mulford back in 15th still has to pit. And so does Warwick. Coleman has to pit. And, of course, Jamie McKnight. Apart from that, everyone else is pitted. So we're seeing a few more roll in here. Here comes Freeman and Gibbs coming in on the same lap. So you can see how that rolls out for him. Cameron G. Jones, of course, has had that second stop. He's still sitting in 5th. So he's still got a fair way to roll up the hill here as he goes through Lukey Heights down into MG. They definitely need to keep an eye on how this pit strategy rolls out. Jordan Ross has come in as well. So just keep an eye and see where these boys roll out. Robert Gibbs goes through into second spot. Looks like it's Robert Gibbs rolling out first, followed by Ross, and then Freeman is going to come out behind Jones.
Jones just gets past Jordan Ross, I think, on the straight there with Jordan coming out of pit lane.
Yeah, so after a round of stops, we've still got James Scott to bring it in with a 43-second lead. He shouldn't have any too much dramas with that. Robert Gibbs is in second, up 5 spots. Cameron G. Jones is sitting in our top 3 on the podium at the moment with 1 foot. Jordan Ross half a second behind, trying to chase him down. And then we've got the battle pack of Gamble, Ladder and Freeman. And Johnstone tucked up not too far behind these boys as well. Been asked the question, did Roy Clark get a penalty? I think Roy had a couple of incidents on and off. I don't think he actually got a penalty as such.
I think he had an opening lap incident with Scott McCune. Scott McCune was penalised, but Roy wasn't. Roy's done a pretty good job overall tonight, I think.
Running back in 37th, but still soldiering on.
Well, what a great pit strategy that was from Robert Gibbs. He's now up 5 spots and he's got 1 foot on the podium at the moment. So yeah, he's really executed well tonight.
There we go. It's got the dirt from race control. Roy Clark had a lead foot in pit lane apparently. Got a speeding violation. So would have
an iRacing one.
Yep. So that would be why he's so far back down now. A little bit expensive, but continues on. Bit of a dive in here from Freeman. Let me get into the other camera. He's going to get that done. No, not quite. Gambler's going to push into the outside here at Siberia. Ladder's getting in there. A little bit of a tap, I think. A little bit loose. Some great driving here. Has allowed Scotty to walk out a couple of steps. James Scott's decided to roll the dice. And Freeman, thought he was about to go for the big dive there at MG.
Big send from Freeman there. Not sure what happened to Jamie McKnight. It looks like he is out. I was just watching him circulate before, but all of a sudden he's 2 laps down. So not sure if Jamie's had a technical issue, but that's a shame for Jamie.
Had been having a few of late. So I wouldn't be surprised if something's come up in that case. So James Scott, our race leader, is back on track. He's cruising around with a 9-second gap from Robert Gibbs. So Robert Gibbs, of course, from ERT, sitting in second spot at the moment. Great drive from Robert. Then we have Jordan Ross sitting in third. And Jordan doing something's happened to Kenny Ladder. I'm just going to quick look, see if we can find what happened there. Sorry to interrupt myself. Kenny Ladder went off track. Oh, Freeman's giving him a bit of a tap there. That's going down into MG, I think. A bit of the full send stuff. Go back to live pictures.
That's a shame for Kenny because he's had great pace all night. He'll be really frustrated with that.
Definitely a frustrating moment. Now Thomas Freeman's come back out behind Dengate. Dyke and ladder battle. Of course, we've got a few of the Hypersonic fans in watching this evening. So what we might do is we might jump back on with Scotty and go on with Stewie and jump back on with the webcam. Hey, Stewie at the moment, up 6 spots, battling in 22nd spot. He's got Simon Chadwick a second and a half up the road, and he's about 2 seconds clear of Jamie Machito, but battling away like he always does. Driving pretty well. Interesting one to watch as well. One of the VR drivers with the VR headset on. See, working the wheel hard. There. Trying to get control in the southern loop. Always great to be racing around, Stewie. One of the great battlers we've got in the iRacing community, and particularly in the vets community. Always gives it 110% when he's behind the wheel. Let's jump back up. Dengate's in a bit of a battle pack here still. Freeman's trying that send again. Looks like he's going to get it done on Dengate. Maybe not. Still side by side coming into the last corner before we go down the Gardner Straight. You can just see how this track, how that hurts. You can see how they've just dropped 4 or 5 car lengths doing that from Jamie Dyke in front of him. That's one of these tracks where you've got to be very careful. You've got to pick your battles around this place.
Yeah, absolutely. Risk and reward around here for sure.
All Boys is heading off, so you might go Supercheap Auto and see what's happening. That's a weird one for Blake. So he not concentrating, button pressing, sorting something else out.
He's still done a pretty good job to get back inside the top 10. We saw he dropped almost to the rear of the pack after on turn 2 and on lap 1, and he's been able to fight his way back up into the top 10. So he's done a great job.
Only down 5 spots from where he started. He's done a bloody good job.
Yeah, he'll probably be feeling like this is one that got away from him. I don't know that he would have had the pace to beat James Scott tonight, but he certainly would have had the pace to be around the Robert Gibbs, Jordan Ross area. So yeah, I'm sure Blake will probably feel like this is one that got away from him.
Yeah, I think that'll be the case as Thomas Freeman's has got himself past Jamie Dyke. Thomas Freeman on the charge here. Ladder's the next one in front of him. These boys will be hoping they can try and fight their way back in. Might just go down to another little battle down the back. A couple of names you haven't talked about. Ryan Kerr, Maratus. And he's battling away with Dave Kirby and Zach McDonald. So Zach, of course, from 9.5 Sim Sports. Dave Kirby from Fishy. So one of the things about East Coast, there's always a battle on somewhere when you go down through the field. These guys all race hard, try and race quite competitively. It's Dengate latching onto the back now of Jamie Dyke. So Harrison's managed to work his way back up. Robert Gibbs, he's got himself 2 seconds clear, 2.5 seconds clear of Jordan Ross. There's plenty of time to settle the car in, get it home to the finish. JR would be doing the same. So, of course, our biggest hard charger at the moment would be Ryan Kerr, who's up that 10 spots. Then we've got Connor Nixon up 8 with Jamie Dyke. And then the next hard charger after that is Matt Stewart up 6. And Robert Gibbs, of course, up 5 spots. So we've seen a few good drives tonight.
Yeah, Ryan Kerr, what a great drive that is, up 10 spots in this field. And yeah, he's really done an excellent job. He's obviously played the strategy right. He's hasn't got too many incidents attached to his name, so he's drove a pretty clean race. And yeah, he's looking like he is on for a good result for himself.
And Thomas Freeman getting a post-race penalty for the tap that he put on Kenneth Ladder a little bit earlier.
Yeah, no real surprises there.
No. So lap 52 or 57, the boys have all started to spread out a bit. We might jump back on with Thomas Freeman. He's still battling away with Kenneth Ladder again. These boys have been doing this all night. Nice defensive lines from Kenneth there. The MG. Very tough corner to get the car to pull up and turn.
Yeah, it's a tough one when you're kind of watching your mirror and trying to work out what the guy behind you's doing and hitting your brake marks at the same time. It's not an easy corner to place the car in the right spot.
Hmm. Of course, we might jump on board with Jamie and have a look from his view as he's watching these two fight away in front of him, thinking to himself, just by my time, these two are going to trip over. So very close racing, nose to tail.
You can see the damage on the right-hand side of Kenny Ladder's car there from the previous hit from Thomas Freeman. Not sure if that's affecting Kenny's top-end speed. It doesn't take much with a bit of side damage in these cars to lose a bit of top-end speed.
Absolutely. You've got to be real careful not to have too much damage, real careful not to cause any damage. Big lock up. This is the door we've been talking about for Dyke. He's got to get around the outside. He's got one, I think. No, he's going to get hung out there. You can see how this little bit of a battle here all of a sudden makes it.
Just brought Harrison Dengate right into it.
Absolutely.
This is something to lick your lips with 5 laps to go.
definitely good little battle. You can see the tyres are starting to get a little bit old as well as they drift out wide through Doohan into the southern loop. All right.
See there in turn one, the aero wash and the tow affecting all three cars there.
Had a couple jump back to pits. I'm not sure what's happened with Dave Coleman. He went off track. And so did Dave Coleman and Paul Warwick. We'll just go to Supercheap Auto Replay, have a quick look. A little bit of an incident. Oh, big snap there from Coleman. Warwick looks like his car's defunct, and I'd say Coleman would be the same. Not in much better shape either. It's a bit of the old teammate rub and grub, and Robert Gibbs has had an off as well. He's still in second spot though, so it must be only minor. Just catches it on the curb. That's given it 110% to get down the Gardner straight. And we go back to some live pictures.
Yeah, that was a shame for the doctor there, caught up in Dave
Coleman's
yeah, just an innocent party there, but that's racing sometimes.
Yeah. It's the old analogy. Ken Laddert still battling with Freeman in front here. Of course, run lap 54 or 57. James Scott, 12.5 seconds out from Robert Gibbs, who's 2 seconds up the road from Ross. He's 4 seconds up the road from Cameron. He's 5 seconds up the road from Gamble. So I think the podium's pretty much decided up the front without anyone falling off. Now that I've said it, someone will. But this is where the little battle's at the moment. This is the boys battling for 11, 12, 13 and 14. These guys have been at it all night and still putting on a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Kenneth, I think he qualified in P3, P2, P3, around that area. He was up the front of the race, the whole race, and then unfortunately him and Thomas Freeman came together with about 10 laps, 15 laps to go, and that put Kenneth off track, and now they're battling away down in 11th and 12th, so it's a shame for both of them boys.
Absolutely a big shame. And of course, Jordan Ross is starting to make a little bit of time on Robert Gibbs here. That's still a fair bit of bitumen between Jordan and Gibbs. I think time will tick away on him here, unfortunately, with 2 laps to go. Big shout out to Pete Keller here in the chat as well. Another one of the split 3 vets boys. And jump back on this battle. Thomas Freeman against holding up with Kenny Latta. And behind that, we've got Dyke and Dengate. These guys are not giving up just yet. They're not going to settle for where they're going to finish. They're going to fight this all the way to the end, I think.
Well, it's been going for about 25 laps now. There's no point stopping at this point.
There you go. Coleman towed without permission. There's James Scott, lap 56, so on the penultimate lap now.
Yeah, he's just had it all his own way tonight. He's been pretty much error-free. He's got 0 incidents. He's done everything right. Pole position, great jump from the start, and he just hasn't looked back from lap 1.
Yeah, Freeman having a bit of a look here coming into Doohan. Bucks back in behind Ladder. Dengate, of course, he's tucked in behind the Goldfish, Jamie Dyke. Yeah, little battles, Michael Whiting, of course. Big Fish.
Walby's just on the back of Damien Johnson now, so Blake looking to make at least one more position before the checkered flag.
Been a great recovery drive from War Boys. So he's having a good hard look here. Of course, James Scott is on the final lap of this race. The white flag is out as he goes through the southern loop. These boys going to be watching some of these little battles fight out here at the end, I think. Wouldn't be much left with either of these two guys' tyres as they take the white flag. We might jump on with our race leader. As we were just saying, has led from the drop of the flag, dominated in qualifying. Expecting big things from James over the coming 6 weeks as we go into the Logitech G Pro Series qualifiers. This is one of the quality drivers going around in sim racing at the moment. This young bloke can put a V8 car anywhere on this track and not make a mistake. Been a fantastic drive from James, and he will be our winner of the Balin Stewart Foundation Phillip Island 250. Well done, James Scott, mate. Hats off to you. That is a fantastic win. As instead of looking at Gibbs, I'm going to jump on Warboys. It's going to have a dive into MG here. Wait and see before I jump to Gibbs. No, not going to happen. Gibbs comes through for second. Great drive from the ERT driver. Race 2, gets himself on the podium. Jordan Ross home in third. Our Synergy Sim Racing boss brings up a great result. Cameron G. Jones for his first race of the season. Back in fourth spot, another great drive. Scotty Gamble home in fifth. Sixth spot, James Chastanuth. Damien Johnstone in seventh. Blake Warboys tucked up behind him in eighth. Great recovery drive. Ben Morris is going to bring it home up 4 spots in ninth. Another good drive. And Paul Young rounds out our top 10. Followed by Michael Angus, Blake Delaney, Michael Whiting is going to bring it home in front of Harrison Dengate. Then we've got Connor Nixon coming through in front of Thomas Freeman. Thomas Freeman's run out of fuel. Oh, no. That is not great. And Kenneth Latta is going to come in 20th. Looks like Kenny's just been pipped on the line by Jamie Masciuto as well. So another one who might have run out of fuel, I think. Jamie Dyke in 21st, Freeman. And then, of course, Michael Stewart done a fantastic job bringing it home in 23rd spot, up 5 spots. And, of course, we've talked about it all night. I've just got it up there again. There's the website address for the Balin Stewart Foundation. Go check it out. Read the story. Get involved. Get some merchandise. Don't make some donations. It's a worthy cause. And if we can get a knife out of the hands of any teenager so that we don't wind up with a situation that happened last year, it's a worthy cause to get behind, something I've supported over the last 12 months. All the WK&P cars have always ran in the blade for Balin, hashtag on the cars, and we still continue to do that to this day. And yeah, a really worthy cause to get behind. And of course,
Absolutely worthy cause, John. And yeah, like anybody out there watching, just jump on the website, have a read, and you'll understand what John's talking about.
Yeah. And of course, I've got to ask you that question again, Mark. Drive of the day.
Well, yeah, I've just been racking my brain who I would have for drive of the day. Robert Gibbs, outstanding effort. Of course, James Scott, like an absolutely faultless night again. But I'm going to go with Connor Nixon. He's up 11 spots from his starting position. He probably didn't get much coverage tonight, but he's done a great job to finish in P15, and he's up 11 spots. So I'm going to go with Connor Nixon.
It's a fair call. I have to agree with you with that one, Mark. That's pretty good stuff. And we might bring in the man that finished third. And a big shout out to our third place getter, Jordan Ross. How are you, JR?
Hey guys,
How'd,
I'm
exhausted. That's my first race in like 2 months.
Well, you haven't lost any pace.
I've had a few wobbles there, a few fallen off the track a couple of times, but the last 10 I got my act together. It was okay.
Yeah, I did get the big call out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go and pinpoint it, but apparently lap 37, but after doing, you had a massive save.
Yeah, I had a few out there. I don't know what I was doing. I just wasn't concentrating, but I was thinking about dinner. But I'm good now. We should be right for next week, and we'll get rid of the mistakes and have a crack.
It sounds good, mate. Looking forward to seeing what you can do next week. We might quickly jump into, as we might wait for Robert Gibbs, we might jump straight into our driver of the day, Connor Nixon. Well done, mate.
Hello.
Well done, mate.
Thank you. Thank you. Didn't expect that.
Look, you're up 11 spots, mate. You've gained the most spots throughout the race. You've battled hard. You've got yourself into the top 15, and you got some big scalps sitting behind you there on the list, mate. So you've done really well tonight.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, I didn't expect how many spots I made up. Just new to the series, and I thought, give it a crack. One of my teammates are doing it, Matt Stewart, so give it a crack. And yeah, didn't expect it to go that well. But yeah, thanks.
No, mate, you've done really well. You should be pretty proud of yourself. And the next man to talk to, of course, is James Scott. James, congratulations on the win, mate.
Yeah, the car was pretty good. Been struggling a little bit recently at Phillip Island, just as a team, so it was good to finally get something that felt half decent. So hopefully we found something there, but I'm sure there is still a little bit more for improvement, so we'll have to keep chipping away.
Starts have definitely come ahead leaps and bounds since our last outing last season.
Yeah, it's amazing how much easier it makes it when you get a good start, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, mate. You cuts half the work you've been doing all the other races. And
yeah, no, I've been getting some rippers lately, so I sort of changed the way I do things. So seems to be working pretty well. So keep doing the same, really.
Absolutely, mate. That's all you can do. And of course, got the Logitech G Pro Series qualifying series coming up, so you'll be pretty much focusing on that at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think it'll be too challenging to get through to the races. Obviously, round one being here, so I thought there's going to be a few more guys show up tonight, but it's good to get a little bit of confidence with a win here. Have to improve the car a little bit more if we want to be at the front come the races for that, but it's a good start.
Absolutely. Absolutely looking forward to seeing what you can do, mate. If I was a betting man, I would be putting some money on it. Of course, our second place driver for tonight and new to the series, of course, in his second outing is Robert Gibbs. Well done, Robert, on your P2.
Thanks, mate. That was pretty pleased with the result. Not pleased with the setup. I think I went the complete opposite direction to what I should have, but Brenton gave me some real good spotting and strategy to get us into P4, I think, after the first stop, and then jumped him in the second one, and that was just managing the gap to Jordan, really, because I didn't have the tyre life to race if he got to me.
Yeah, of course, the two boys in front of you had done a 10-second less pit stop as well. Sort of would have changed the thinking a little bit as we roll through, like Freeman and Jones. You noticed had done that early stop, so I was interested to see whether they were going to roll out after the second stop. It allowed you boys all to jump back in.
Yeah, I was just trying to catch back because I didn't realise Freeman got there. I didn't realise he jumped me by so much in the first stop, but I knew as long as I could get to the back of him and Jonesy, then I'd be able to jump him in the pit stop without a doubt. It was more so Jordan and I think it was Cameron as well.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, and before we thank all of our sponsors and everything else and run through that, I might just see we've got Michael Stewart with us. You there, Michael?
Yeah, guys, how are you?
Yeah, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. I just wanted to come in and just thank everybody for the support. If it wasn't for sim racing, I'd just be curled up in a ball and rocking in the corner. This has been my only sanity, and a lot of you may not know, but the last sort of 15 minutes of Balin's life was me and him watching, a vets race back together, and then I went off to bed, and next minute I knew he's got a knife in his chest. So yeah, it means a lot, and I just wanted to thank every single person that's participated. Obviously, admin, race control, sponsors. Too many to mention, but yeah, it meant a lot to Carolyn and myself. So thanks, guys.
That's all right, mate. At least from speaking on behalf of the East Coast boys and probably on the drivers as well, it's the least we can do, mate, because it's a tragic thing that's happened, but it's also something that we don't want to see happen again to another family, because it's just a senseless waste of life, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we formed the foundation. We were a little bit ignorant to the fact that how common, sort of carrying a knife from a teen's point of view is. And, it's a culture now. It is something that is way bigger than most people would actually even lightly imagine, at how many kids do carry knives, and various reasons. They want to cause harm, they want to be cool, or they're just scared because everybody else is carrying one. So we need to make it, like I said earlier today, we need to make it like the king hit was turned into a coward punch, and it's very, it's frowned upon by young and old. So we just need this carrying of knives as youths themselves need to turn it around. It's no good, parents and teachers and police trying to turn it around. It's the kids. So the only way that's going to happen is education, and that's what we've been fighting for, is to get more and more education, get more and more programs out there, get more advertising towards it. There isn't a politician or a party that has got one advertisement billboard that addresses this issue. And why? How many kids need to die before they start to do something about it? So we thought we'd try and put a focus and a spotlight on it, and get the media on our side, and try and do the best we can, so nobody has to go through the hell that my wife and I have over the last year.
Yeah.
You're an absolute champion, Michael. The vets community love you dearly, and I'm sure the same goes for the East Coast Series. And you're just a great spokesman for Balin, and he needs that voice from you now. And full credit to you, mate. We love you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. As I said, this is pretty close to my heart. That the last thing that I shared with him. So on an emotional level, it's meant a lot this week, and tough week. But hey, we've got a walk for Balin on Friday, where we're hopefully get thousands of people along and walk to say no to knife crime, and also mourn the loss of my son. Every parent's proud of their kid, but the stories that have come back to us, are just overwhelming, of how cool Balin was to everyone. He was a very inclusive kid. So so thanks again. I appreciate it. I won't take up any more of your time, and we'll hopefully, if anybody's on the Sunshine Coast, rock up on Friday. That'd be great to meet you.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I won't be up there, Michael, but I'll be there in spirit, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael. I might start with you, Robert. Is the new one in the decky? You want to give a thank out to your sponsors?
Yeah, just like to thank Logitech for being a sponsor, giving us support, and got to thank Brenton, obviously, for running the strategy for me today. Don't think I would have been anywhere near second if I was on my own.
I don't know about that, Robert. You executed last week. You had a bit of bad luck in race 2 last week, I think, and then you've executed again tonight. So you've shown good speed in 2 rounds here. So I don't think it's any accident that you're up here.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
It's all right. And James, unfortunately, I was going to give it to Jordan tonight.
Yeah, he knew he was going to get the hard job, so he racked off.
I can start for you, Dr. Epoxy, Wave Runner and Sons.
Yeah. I think that the Doctor of Box is one that I usually forget, isn't it? But in all seriousness, obviously Wave Runner Performance, Positive Mechanical, Too Easy Finance, Western Mazda, Smith and Sons, and obviously you guys for the broadcast, series admin, and obviously Michael as well. Hopefully he had a good night out there, and you know it'd be a hard time for him, but hopefully tonight was good for him.
Yeah, it would have been.
Thanks, James. Well said, mate.
Yeah, well said. I'm a bit of a loss. I think we're at Road America next week, but I think that changed. Like Chicago's only holding 40 cars, so there was talk of changing tracks, but I'm not sure where Ash landed on all that. So I'm not sure where we'll be next week, but we'll be here on YouTube and Facebook. But at what circuit, I couldn't tell you.
I think it is Road America. I saw there was some talk about running some heat racing at Chicago, but I didn't see any more of that. So I think it's Road America.
Road America. There we go.
Well, Road America is one of my all-time favourites. It's a great track for V8s, and if we're going there, then I think we'll see some great racing, and it'll be some exciting stuff.
Absolutely looking forward to it. Of course, Vets are there this week as well. So, I might just take a quick chance to say a big thank you again to Supercheap Auto, WK&P, Pool Guys, Barilla Cabinets, Vehicle Finance Solutions, and of course West End Motor Group. Thank you for those guys for getting on board and helping us out with the East Coast Series race control, where we had Seb, Josh and Dave Worrell tonight. And a big shout out to all the drivers, and of course a big shout out to the Balin Stewart Foundation. On that note, I'll say good night, and we'll see everybody next week.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name.